Hannah's just said that I'm extremely brave for serving her another white wine because, as we've heard, whites are not your natural go-to.
No.
But I always get excited because I'm like, you can't be grapist, you can't be, you know, like, you have to be cute. You know, there's always something for everyone out there in the wonderfully wide and diverse world of wine. And you had sent me 2 or 3 pictures of white wines that you had enjoyed. Yes. And I noticed that there was a kind of trend where you liked wines which didn't even if they did have acidity, they would still have to have good body. And I'm like you, I like something, when people talk about light-bodied wines, that's like skimmed milk being washed around your, if you had that. Medium-bodied wines would be like semi-skimmed milk, and full-bodied wines would be more like custard or cream.
Love that.
And you tended to be more on the medium to full-bodied kind of wines.
Really? Creamy. Is that me?
Yeah, but it have to be balanced, with like good acidity and enough fruit that I was a bit nervous for the first one that you would find the acid too high, but I think like the soft bubbles kind of.
There was no acid in that. I could definitely do the full bottle of that.
No, well, and now you've got your Ocado order to do, so that's great. But this white wine I have brought out, so I always try and champion a supermarket with one of the wines, and then I champion an importer. So the first one, as I mentioned, it was like from Ocado. And then the next 2 wines are from this wonderful online wine retailer who I used to work with called Swig.
Brilliant name.
Brilliant name, brilliant people. And I love them because it's a small company, but they tend to work with boutique wineries from around the world, normally still family run. And yes, they do some very wonderful traditional French and Italian wines, but then they also do some things which are slightly off-piste.
Okay.
And I was kind of thinking about you, and I was like linking it to the fact that you have kind of mixed heritage, the fact that you've had to take certain risks and things in your career, and persevering through adversity. Okay. And I would also say it's quite a complex white wine, which it's found now in all kinds of restaurants in the UK. So you might have gone to some of the restaurants which it appeared in. But before I tell you too much, I'm just curious what you think. So this one, I would say like swirly. So it's a blend of Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay.
Okay.
And it has not been put into oak because they want to keep the purity. But when you smell it, you might get a little bit of grassiness from Sauvignon. But
it's quite sort of, I'm going to try and speak like I'm a connoisseur, but it smells quite sort of perfume. It's like, it's lovely. It's completely different smell from the first one.
Yeah. So, I mean, from the Sauvignon Blanc, you do get like a little bit of grassiness. I also kind of got like, baked pineapple rings on it. I also kind of got, I'm like now looking for my notes. I was like, oh yeah.
Pineapple.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, it smells like candied pineapple. And there's like a little bit of bay leaf. It's a little bit grassy, but then when you taste it, what I like is it's very creamy. When I was talking about medium to full bodied, this is like a medium to full-bodied white. It's kind of creamy, succulent. You have kind of herbal, like a really sweet herbal spicy note, which I like.
This is beautiful. Mm-hmm. This is really good. Okay. Am I a white wine drinker now?
Yes.
Oh my God, I don't believe it.
So we are actually travelled to Syria.
Wow.
So this is actually Syria's only private estate-made wine.
Bloody hell. Am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, it's fucking great.
Swig are all about championing stories and culture stuff. And so these guys are amazing. So they actually have to operate. It's run by a family. The family actually have to live in Beirut, but they set up the winery in 2006, and it's in kind of the hills of Bargylus, which is very near the port of what used to be known as Antioch. So kind of where Hellenistic Judaism met Christianity. It's where Saul had his Damascene moments. I kind of thought with your mixed background too, and with Syria and Iran or whatever, I was just like, okay, that part of the world. But they had really wanted to go over there because despite all the challenges which they've had in the past in the 50s and 60s and losing various land and whatever, they've always known since Roman times that this has been an area for grape growing. And so they were determined to pay a homage to the past, but also by keeping a finger on the pulse. So actually all of that they got in a consultant to help them. I'm going to mispronounce his name, Stéphane Darren-Oncourt. And with the assistance of him basically producing wine since 2006. But since 2011, due to civil war, they had to leave Syria. Wow. And now, I mean, it's insane because their offices are in Beirut. Right.
Another great place.
Yeah. But they have to be talking to the pickers by phone, telling them when to pick. The grapes then have to go into taxis over the border. They have to bring it's an amazing story. So they basically, the city of Antioch has been, making wine for, since the beginning of like kind of Christianity and Hellenistic Judaism. And now, just because I don't want to get it wrong. So they also have had issues. So as well as the war and as well as, just having all these logistical issues in terms of harvesting, in terms of picking, in terms of getting their grapes to them, even exporting has been really difficult because in Syria, winery equipment is difficult to source and spare parts have to be discreetly brought in by taxi. And like the actual winemaking is also done over the internet.
Oh my gosh.
And so then for the brothers to assess, they have to send over samples of the wine and the grapes to the brothers in Beirut. And even now too, what used to be a relatively easy journey to export their wines, because like the wines would just be sent to Lebanon and then on to Europe. Now they have to go through various ports. So like every single bit of the process is a complete logistical.
So just to have this lovely bottle is like quite an honor.
It's an honor, and they actually lose wine on every single bit of, because there's so much work which goes into it. They actually lose money on every single bottle produced, but thanks to that other family businesses, that is what keeps this winery afloat. And they're determined. And even though they've recently just due to fighting stuff, they've like lost their family home in Syria, whatever, they're still like, no, they will never, ever take our vines away from us. You can't just pack up your vines and put them on your back. Okay. You have to keep on making wine.
Okay.
So this is actually, it's a beautiful wine. It's from 2017. I wanted to show you a white wine, which is complex, and it just shows you it doesn't need oak to age because that is still so full of perfume, fruit, freshness, but the slight age has given it that curd-like texture, which I love. And it's a Sauvignon Blanc Chardonnay. It's called Bargylus, because it's Domaine de Bargylus. And then they make a white wine from Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay. And then they make a red wine, which is a Cabernet blend, which is fantastic also. And it's about 33, 34 pounds, which again, when you think about the complexity, the nuances, the adversity.
Yeah.
To be able to enjoy this wine and have this, on our table, it's amazing.
But also it's what I've sort of got from that is there's a really beautiful story behind it. And although a story a little bit of sort of fighting for kind of what you want to, in this instance, create, I would want to part with my money and support something like that. Kind of similar when I hear stories or if I'm interviewing people who have restaurants or anything within the food or culinary industry, I would want to support said person or said business or brand because there's a story behind it.
Exactly.
Like I'm buying into that.
Absolutely. And I think it holds on. So absolutely, you will see this at Ahmad's Syrian restaurants.
Yeah.
But then,
yes.
Yeah. But then they're like, this is not meant to be an ethnic wine. Like, so you'll see it in the Michelin, Claude Bossy's restaurant in Bibendum, the Michelin star restaurant, like you'll see it there. So their whole thing is like, this should absolutely stand and occupy its own place and like be up there amongst the best burger, like, it'll stand on a wine list with all of those. But then I think you're right too, when people hear the story, that then just like makes you want to invest in it too.
Do you get many like great wines like this from that part of the world? I'm a bit ignorant to sort of, Middle Eastern wines.
So they were inspired actually by Lebanon because they suddenly realized like in Lebanon, they were making great wines in the Bekaa Valley and also in the Golan Heights.
There's a taste in it and I'm trying to find out what it is, but it reminds me of something. There's a taste, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but there's a taste in the middle, not the first taste and not the sort of the aftertaste. There's something in the middle that reminds me of something that I used to eat, and it's bringing back a nostalgic memory. And I think that's why I'm really loving it as well.
Is it like, because there's various things, there's like a kind of sweet herbal spice, like you could say like rosemary, or you could say like I don't know, Bailey, like I don't know, like something.
I'm definitely getting that pineapple though.
That pineapple,
that is wild. When you said it, that's what I was like, oh my God, that's it.
And like, that's the thing. Cause again, I think it probably comes from scrubland there, which I haven't been. Like, this is the thing, like why wine is so personal, because like, you know, I bet if I had been there and I could have like seen the scrubland, and, you know, it's like when people talk about Garrigue and Provence, it's that scrubland. It's that kind of resinous herbal spice, which you get in Provence rosé.
Yeah.
And like, this is why I'm like, one day, hopefully I'll get over to Syria.
You're changing my life, Amelia. You're changing my life.
But no, this is so great. But the thing is, it just goes to show, I think lots of people, they just don't like, you know, it's just like hard to know, like, oh, I know I like this, I know I like this, but it's finding the coherent narrative and being like, oh yeah, there's a reason, there's a consistency. So at the end of this, I'll give you like the kind of main descriptors for you to go away.
Thank you.
When you get to restaurants.
Now I feel I'll have a bit more confidence in like ordering wine.
All you need is 2 or 3 adjectives.
Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
And hopefully a waiter or whoever it is who sort of knows what they're doing.
Someone in an independent wine shop.
Fine. Okay, great. Perfect.
Exactly.